At its heart, Batman and the Three Jokers is a detective story. I think if you look at it that way, it helps kind of explain and set your expectation for the story you're going to get. And as a detective story, as a mystery, it's still quite a good book. I'm going to review the second issue, and for some, it's a letdown from the first. Is that true? Is that how you view it? We're going to walk through it together. Hey everybody, this is Perch. DC Black Label, Book 2, Geoff Johns, Jason Fabok, Brad Anderson. This is Batman 3 Jokers number 2. This is, again, another issue by Geoff Johns that is feeling like one of his last. I'm sure he will do other work beyond this. He's got a short story, I think, coming up with Scott Snyder here toward the end of the year. But in general, it feels like the clock is ticking on how many Geoff Johns stories we're going to get. So this is a 3-part comic. It was long delayed. We reviewed the first one. A lot of things happened, including the issue kind of closing with Jason Todd killing one of the Jokers that had been found. There's 3 Jokers running around. They each represent kind of different things. The surgeon, the comedian, and the clown, I believe. And this book is drawn in the 9-panel grid, the Watchmen style. It's got a lot of nice creepy moments in it. It definitely feels like a classic comic book in a lot of ways. This feels like a comic book that would have been at home in the 80s and the 90s. It doesn't feel like a modern Batman comic book. It doesn't feel like it has a lot of the splashy stunts and kind of other things. It is at its heart, a mystery. And our comic opens up. This comic spends a lot more time with the Jokers. We get a pretty lengthy sequence at the beginning with one of the Jokers here. Basically having, dinner, the comedian, having dinner with a family. The family's uncomfortable. The son doesn't want to be there. The wife is very, very uncomfortable. And it as the Joker is kind of eating his dinner, it suddenly the scene flips. He's eating cat food in kind of an abandoned, hollowed out, dark house. And we don't know if this is exactly kind of his wish, but it's certainly a dream sequence. He's kind of deluding himself. He's sitting with a pink bear with his arms torn off in a mannequin. And the criminal, the second Joker, comes in, basically points out that, hey, one of us is dead. And, it was your idea to let us in on a little secret, to give him a trail to follow, to make it more fun. Now one of us is dead. And the clown is basically lying here shot. We get a very visceral sequence of kind of the brains and the blood spilling out of the head as flies start to descend. And Batman is still on the trail trying to find out what's going on. Gets to a judge's house. Then this is Judge Walls. He was a dirty judge. Batman's investigating his murder. We don't quite understand why he's been killed, what's going on here. There's some Jokerized dogs there on the scene. And this seems like a pretty important detail that's going to play out as the comic book kind of progresses, maybe in the 3rd issue, of who this judge is and why these things are happening, what was going on with this murder. So Batgirl shows up. She needs to talk to Batman privately. They hit the street, and she's like, Red Hood is a criminal. She just came from where Red Hood killed the Joker and the clown Joker, the 3rd Joker. And they're out on the street. She's on her motorcycle. He's on in his Batmobile. And they have a good back and forth discussion for several pages talking about criminality and how Jason Todd crossed a line. And it gets into some interesting ground covered here around, why didn't Batman do more for Jason Todd when it was revealed that he was back alive? He hadn't died after all. Why didn't Batman reach out more? Why did he allow Jason Todd to descend in many of the ways he did, including a pretty solid line of recognizing that both Barbara and Jason Todd suffered massively under the Joker. Their lives were severely altered, and the direction of everything changed because of the Joker. But Barbara got stronger, and Jason changed, got more violent. So it's leaving us with an interesting piece. We then move over to Jason Todd, who's beating his way through a bunch of Joker goons to try and get to the location. of where to go. Batman has picked up a clue on the award from the judge's house who was murdered, and it belongs to Joe Chill, of course, who was responsible for murdering Batman's parents. We get another very, very brief, thankfully, recreation again in black and white of this moment where Joe Chill killed Bruce's parents. Bruce goes into Blackgate to basically go and kind of interrogate Joe Chill, but he's been moved. He's not in his cell. He's actually up in the hospital wing. He's got stage 4 cancer, and he's about to die. So Batman is off his game. He's following these clues, but they're leading him into a circular area. It's leading him to all of kind of his own mystery. Joe Chill with his parents and kind of all these different pieces. It's Batman definitely seems off of his game. What we've seen is Batgirl. Everybody's reacting to the Joker, his presence, these 3 Jokers, this case. Very dark, very gritty, lots of good mood with the coloring and rain and everything else. And everybody is Jason Todd has turned into kind of a robotic, mission of vengeance. Batgirl is tortured, kind of with inner rage and kind of her own conflicted feelings. Batman is becoming kind of off his game a little bit of where this whole mystery is taking him. It has a dark kind of ominous feeling. It reminds me of the movie Seven in a lot of ways, of just with every step things are getting worse. So Red Hood goes into this athletic association in the building, this pool. He goes into this abandoned building, and he comes across a giant swimming pool filled with Joker kind of acid and naked Joker bodies. And one of them leaps out. We get a jump scare. Leaps out of the water, and he's grabbed from behind as he's distracted. He's grabbed from behind by the 2 Jokers. They pull him off, and they tie him to a chair. And we get into this brief sequence where you are going to be one of the Jokers. We're going to make your transition is going to be to another Joker. And they go back and forth. They put his mask back on him. It had fallen off, and then it's painted with a little Joker smile. And they're saying you're going to be a Joker like us, but you're just not smart enough to be a good Joker. So they bash him on the head with a crowbar a few times, knock him down, and one of the Jokers is against it, and the other is for it. Basically, him becoming a Joker. Now, I'll get to some thoughts and theories here in a minute, but I think this scene kind of tips where this mystery is all going. But at that moment, Batgirl kind of bursts into the scene. Her and Batman are quickly surrounded by naked Joker people who are kind of in pain. They're trying. It's very much a zombie kind of moment where they're going after him. They activate the Bat car on the belt. The car, drives in, smashes several of the Joker zombies, and they think they found Jason, but they haven't. So they continue to search through the building, and eventually they come across the naked Jason Todd, helmet half bashed in. Jason is traumatized because the Joker's got the jump on him. It forced him to relive his trauma, and he's basically angry. Barbara calms him down a little bit. They both get him to someplace safe. They're still torn up about what to do. Batman is trying to, he's willing to somewhat overlook the fact that Jason Todd killed somebody in the previous issue. Barbara is definitely more he has to pay, but they're trying to figure out kind of where all this goes. Jason Todd wakes up. He starts to investigate the little apartment, sees a lot of Barbara Gordon's the wheelchair, kind of things she went through on her path to recovery, chronic pain management, everything else. And they share a brief moment of kind of talking about how healing worked and why people were there for Barbara but not for Jason, the difference between the two of them. And this leads them to have a quick kiss, which is what the internet was all crazy about. But then she says we shouldn't have done that. She just wanted to know that they care. It's not a romantic kiss. It's not, it's uncomfortable. It's awkward, just like you kind of expect it to be. And the two kind of separate from there. Meanwhile, back at the Batcave, Batman is going over the clues, going over kind of missing people, missing clowns, trying to piece it all together, and stares over at the globe and sees Alaska on the globe, which is an odd little takeaway. But this brings us back to Joe Chill, who's been broken out of Blackgate. He's got the terminal 4 cancer. He's in terrible shape. Joker puts the hat on him, starts up a camera, and says, "It's time to finally confess. Why did you really kill Thomas and Martha Wayne?" And that's where our issue ends with both kind of the torture of Joe Chill about to record some kind of crazy video, and undoubtedly torture for Batman Bruce Wayne as well. Um, it's a powerful issue still. I think this is a good detective story by all accounts. It's not. It does not have the same impact that the previous the first issue did. This is a lot of putting the pieces together. I feel like the third issue is going to, be strong again. It'll be back at the same level as the first. I think when you read this all as one, it will have this is the issue where you have a dark, ominous feeling that things are going in the wrong direction. Is Jason Todd going to fall? Is he going to become another Joker? Where is this all headed? So I mentioned before, I felt like there was a scene that gave things away a little bit, and I think it's the scene where they're basically telling Jason Todd he could be a Joker, or they're kind of going through all that. My belief is that the Jokers we're seeing, that none of them are, the real Joker. That we have, or maybe, but basically we had somebody, a Joker, who's trying to perfect this kind of Joker serum, trying to get, basically, another one of him. He's trying to create his own legacy to live on forever, to have, these people who are going to take on different aspects of kind of the Joker personality, and that, we're seeing either three fakes, three attempts at this, who are not the real Joker. Or basically the reveal here is that there is a Joker character, but at different times the Joker, people who have been Jokerized that maybe didn't go crazy with it or didn't kind of succumb, um, basically then would, and there's very few, would go out and torture Batman or kind of get involved in his business. And it's kind of these people who have been inflicted with the Joker serum, who have, basically taken on more aspects to of the Joker, or not died right away, but become criminals and kind of villains in their own right. It feels where it's going, but I'm not sure. It's a fun ride. Like I said, it's a strong enough issue. I like a good mystery. I like that we're getting Batman in a mystery, in a detective story, and that's really nice to see. So good on them for doing that. Happy that this is a comic. It's got a very different feel from other comics going on, and I think that's a good thing. So if you are not completely enamored by Joker War, you don't like kind of the more flashy, almost sensationalistic kind of Batman stories that they tell today, you really love those kind of very heavy mood generated kind of 80s Batman stories, this one's probably for you. It's gonna hit the right notes, and it's a well constructed story, even if it doesn't wind up where we want it to. I think it's there's a lot of care that went into this, and I think that comes off clear in the page. But let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like the comic, didn't like the comic, want more of the comic, would you like to see more stories like that? I would love it if comics did more stuff like this from time to time, where you got kind of very tonally different stories, and ones where they really are trying to recreate some of that kind of 80s feel, kind of that suspense thriller, detective thriller kind of feel. I like it. I like that it's got such a different and unique tone, and it sets up a nice issue. I also think there's some interesting dialogue and some things going on with Barbara and Jason, and kind of the differences between the two and how their paths were charted. I think that's some pretty cool stuff as well. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications if you don't mind, if you want that. Otherwise, you can follow me on social media, send me an email, but most importantly, thanks for listening.